Hello, and welcome to CE 3372 Water Systems Design. This video, the first one in a series of videos, is to illustrate the resources that are available to the students in the course. Most, if not all, the course content is managed through a learning management system housed on a web server. The web server itself is located at theodore-macbookpro.ttu.edu, and the way to access it is either through this link under Teaching or directly through the Teaching tab. I think the Teaching tab's easier, so that's what I'll show. Upon doing that, we want to select My Moodle site. These other items here are more for my use than for student use, and they're incomplete as far as a course is concerned. So accessing through the repository will get you a lot, but not the entire course content. You need to use the learning management system. Learning management system looks like this, and we're going to want to log in for water systems design. Just like in Blackboard, you have to log in. However, you use a different user ID and a different password, which will be assigned in the first class meeting handed out by the grader. As an example, we're going to use a fake account I have made called Student-01 and their password. Hopefully I entered it correctly. Before I press login, I want to bring your attention up here where it's listing that the website is not secure. That's intentional. This particular website is running in an older version of Apache, so it's not using secure socket layer because I'm unwilling to pay for a certificate. The downside is most of your browser security will detect that and will issue a warning message. Use whatever browser security override you need to. That's available for all browsers, and then you can access the website. Press login, and we're in. As an aside, this website only stores your name, your email, and your coursework that's submitted as part of this course. Those are the only 3 bits of personally identifiable information. And generally it's pretty secure. I run nightly backups, and it's unlikely that that information will be compromised. So here's what the course layout looks like. It's organized in weeks, so week 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the ones that say topic are just other weeks and not been updated yet. The general category takes you here. If there are any announcements, you click on announcements. As of the time of this recording, there are no announcements. We'll return to general category, and let's take a look at the syllabus. So the fall 2018 syllabus is simply a file, and you've linked to it, and we'll go through it a little bit at a time. So there's 2 sections of the course, Section 1, and Section 2. Section 1 meets in Room 1, Section 2 in Room 211. Section 1 is from 6:30 to 7:50 at night. Section 2 is from 11 to 12:20 in the early morning, or in the morning. The web URL is located here. My Texas Tech, don't do that. My Texas Tech email is located there. Office hours are limited. It's best to email me to try to find a mutually acceptable time. The catalog description is listed here. This should be directly from the current catalog. There's the hydraulic analysis and design of municipal water distribution, stormwater collection, and wastewater collection systems, oral and written presentations. It's writing intensive or communications intensive, whatever we're calling it now. The objective of this class is to review the theory and application of hydraulics and learn how to use tools such as charts and computer programs and apply the tools in the design and distribution of collection and of distribution and collection and pumping systems. Preparation of a couple of reports is also an emphasized objective of this course. So at the end of the course, you will have done a hydraulic analysis of a water distribution system, simplified but realistic, and you will design a stormwater collection system for some subdivision in Texas. Also be simplified but realistic. During the course, you'll read, synthesize, and communicate ideas in current historical and technical literature, flow and transport computation, using various tools, and select engineering materials, and at least prepare a professional report. As far as ABET objectives, these are the targeted objectives for the course. Now this 3A, 3B, 3E, I believe ABET has changed the coding system. Most of the narrative has not changed, just the coding system has changed. The course-specific policies are listed in the next part of the syllabus. So disability, there's a Texas Tech policy. Religious holidays, OP 34.19 covers those. When you're in class, it'd be nice if you turn off your cell phones or turn them onto silent ring. Disturbance during class time is not acceptable. If you're waiting on an important call, perhaps from the hospital or something, your cat's having a baby, then when the call comes, step out of the classroom, take the call, and then return when it's done. You've expected to master material in CE 3305, fluid mechanics, and CE 3354, hydraulics, or the equivalent of those. I usually take roll to record class participation. Let me know in advance if you have to miss a class for a legitimate reason. If you're more than 5 minutes late, don't bother, take the absence because it's really annoying. Legitimate reasons include academic-related extracurricular activities, so JSCE, Texas section, concrete canoe, that kind of stuff. AGU, job fair, that's a legitimate reason. If you're sick with documentation, go to the doctor. Don't bring us sick and then bring some documentation. Anything that would qualify under Federal Family Leave Act is a legitimate reason. And if you happen to receive orders to activate, whether you're military, reserve peace officer, reserve public health officer, bring documentation for that. There's assignments on almost every class. The assignment needs to be accompanied by a memo or a report. These written materials should be prepared in a word processor. Hand computations, where appropriate, can be turned in attached to the memorandum, and the important steps in each solution must be shown. Illegible materials will not be graded. When you complete an assignment, whether it's an individual or a group assignment, you need to convert it into a single file, Adobe PDF, and upload it to the learning management system on the assigned date. We'll see that shortly. Due dates are shown in the table, and the most important due dates are the ones that are demanded by the learning management system. There's 2 project reports for this class, Report 1 and Report 2. They're to be conducted as a team activity. Some homeworks are done as a team activity also. They're identified in the homework statement. And then near the end of the semester, we're going to do presentations for peer evaluation. It's the Report 2 is the main topic. The report is due by each team on the day of the presentation, in my hand before the presentation occurs. Those reports will be both printed and uploaded to the learning management system. There's 2 intended exams. They're open notes. They're full credits only given if all the work is documented and the examination dates are shown in the table. This is the general breakdown for the grading. These percents will probably change a little bit depending on how things divide by 100. And then here's the schedule, at least the current schedule. Schedule is just a plan, so this might change, but not much. Certainly the topical list is about what you can expect. So basically between the beginning and late September is the first part of the course, mostly dealing with pipe network flow, water distribution systems. Then we switch to open channels and spend quite a bit of time on stormwater collection system. Just before the Thanksgiving holiday, we will conclude most of the exercise. Your report 1, which is on the first part, is due on the 16th of October. And report 2 is due either the 27th or 29th, depending on when your group presents. References, so this is a handful of the readings that will be used in the class. They're located on the server, which is why you actually need to log in so that they're password protected, and that falls under my interpretation of the Fair Use Policy of the United States Copyright Code. As an alternative, you can just buy $1,000 worth of books. I don't think you want to do that. The policies stated, any university policies override any course-specific policies. So if I've stated a policy that contradicts a university policy, the university policy is in force. There's a certain set of policies regarding syllabi. This syllabus, as far as I know, meets these policies and is uploaded to the public site as required by the university. There's institutionally suggested on discrimination, sexual harassment, or caste harassment and sexual violence. Pretty much what I say here is just be nice to each other. And you can read this at your leisure. It contains links to various places if you feel that you're in a situation where you need to access one of these links. Civility in the classroom. Let's try not to irritate one another and be professional, respectful of each other's ideas. If you disrupt the classroom by rude, sarcastic, threatening, abusive, or obscene language beyond what would be appropriate by any rational person, you're going to be asked to leave. Just be nice to each other. Okay, the American Disabilities Act, part of this syllabus. This is just a copy of Operating Policy 10.08, and it states most of the relevant material. It has the procedures that you have to follow if you need to claim an accommodation under the American with Disability Act. I have inserted into the course syllabus that which is required. This statement is no longer valid, so this is an older operating procedure. If you need accommodations, you have to work through student disability services. My materials are online, both printed and with my voiceover. If that's insufficient, then you'll have to use student disability services to get additional accommodations. And that concludes the syllabus part of this initial review. Next, most of the weeks are organized in lessons, and a lesson isn't like you're going to get lessoned in anything. It's more of an organizational structure. So for instance, lesson 1, we have notes which we'll go through in a minute. We have Introduction to Water Resources Engineering, a couple of readings, and then the video link, which while I'm making this video is blank, but by the time you visit the website, this video and an accompanying video on the PowerPoint will exist. If you take one of these reading links, it should take you to a directory-like structure like this, and then you can click on the reading and you're expected to do these readings. These will make your life easier. Okay, let's go to the exercise. So in exercises are another link on this learning management system, and the most important part is this table. It tells you whether you've tried it or not, whether it's been graded or not, the due date, and how long until the due date you have to do the upload. The actual exercise is its own file, and so this particular one is a web internet research problem. As you work through this, you could complete this and put your name on it, or you can write it separately, scan it, and send it as a PDF or a combination of the two. Remember that most of the things need to be written in a memo, so it's probably easier to write a simple memo, grab the parts of this that are relevant, plug it in the memo, PDF it, and then upload it. When you're ready to upload it, you go to Add Submission, and nothing will happen. Try that again. And you would drag your file, your answer file, into this area. Wait for it to upload. Be sure that the file meets the maximum file size, which is 8 megabytes, which should be more than enough. If we take Save Changes, let's go ahead and let me go ahead and put a fake answer up there. So let's pretend that I've done this homework. Put my solution file there. Wait for it to upload. When it's uploaded, it looks like a PDF. You choose Save Changes. And currently, submission status is not submission. It's not submitted until you commit by pressing Submit. We can edit the submission. Make changes. Let's take a look at what that submission would have looked like. So this is essentially what that particular assignment would look like. I'm taking this to show you how I want it done. So you'd write a memo. It's to, in this case, P. Nguyen by P. Polar Bear, Penguin by Polar Bear. This doesn't happen for a few years yet. The purpose of this first one is to demonstrate the ability to use web resources and supply readings to self-teach about water systems. And then it goes through the solution discussion. Google search and reading a service supply were used to complete various tables. Persistent was needed for some of informational items, as a simple Google search did not return the requested information directly. The user had to read various documents to extract the required answers. Evaporation was the most difficult item to find easily. The New Mexico, the value was found from a very old circa 1905 document that the user actually had to read to find a value. Some items were entered incorrectly. They are obvious as a check against verbatim copies. So 4 problems, complete the memo, and then here is complete that table. Complete the water use categories. Probably find Chin pretty useful. State the climate conditions, make the various conversions, and then you would look up the various values to find the climatic conditions. And in here, this has got footnotes of where the information came from. So that's what a typical solution would look like. When you're convinced the solution is good to go, once you hit submit, you're committed. And then it's going to ask you if you're sure, and now it's submitted. You can't do anything at this point. Your goal is to get it submitted before the due date. Oh, and get it done, of course. Okay, that's the learning management system for assignments. It doesn't send you an email or anything, but when you get to this page that says it's submitted, and it will tell you if you're late. I believe I have it programmed to allow for basically a 24-hour late period. So if you're a few minutes late, it will be recorded as late, but it accepts it. If you're more than 24 hours late, that's a shame, because there is no coming back after that. All right, that pretty much completes the introduction to the course resources. So I'm going to conclude this video, and there's going to be a subsequent video where we're actually going to go through the